How's everyone? Welcome to Open Court. So I started another section on my channel where I'm going to focus on reviewing some strings and some rackets that I've already used in the past. So this is going to be a little quicker review. I don't need to do a first impression section, so it should be a lot shorter and probably easier for you guys to digest. So on this first edition of Quick Reviews on Open Court, I wanted to talk about my favorite Alu Power string. So you guys have all heard of Luxilon. You guys all know about the Alu Power line. It's the most popular string on the Pro Tour, even among casuals. A lot of people love the Alu Power, but there are actually a lot of different variants of Alu Power, including rough, spin, fluoro, all these kinds of different variants. And so my personal favorite Alu Power variant is called Alu Power Feel. So maybe you guys have heard of Alu Power Feel, maybe you haven't, but the only difference between the original Alu Power and Alu Power Feel is the thickness. Original Alu Power is a 16L 125mm gauge. Alu Power Feel is a 120 17 gauge. So it's just a little bit thinner. Luxilon has actually stopped calling it the Feel. As you can see here, all they've done is just relabeled the package and then just called it Alu Power 120. I think this is a little bit easier for people to understand. It's less confusing. They can look at this and think, oh, okay, it's just a thinner version of Alu Power. So why is this my personal favorite variant of the Luxilon Alu Power? Mostly because I like thin strings for the extra spin, feel, and pop. So let's get into the pros of this string. So what is the benefit of a thinner gauge? Mostly it gets more spin, more power, and feel. And the Alu Power Feel or the 120 version gets more of spin, power, and feel than the original version. My go-to rackets are the Speed Pro variants, and they all have 18-20 string patterns, very tight, and so I typically like using a thinner gauge because it gives me more spin and more power to help unlock that from the racket, because the racket doesn't give me much help in that department. It's mostly the feel that's the best part about this string, and it's fitting because it used to be called the Luxilon Alu Power Feel. The feel on this is amazing. It lets me get great slices, great touch, drop shots. I'm a very feel-oriented player. I like to serve and volley, come up to the net, and so I really rely on feel and touch in my game. Feel is not only for the touch shots like drop shots and stuff. If you have better feel, you have more confidence when you're swinging, and so I feel a lot more confidence swinging away from the baseline, knowing that the ball is going to go exactly where I'm aiming. So I can take aggressive cuts on the returns and then rush into the net and finish off the volley into the opposite corner. I can hit kick serves into the corners where I want to. It's just the feel of this 120 gauge makes me play with a lot more consistency and a lot more confidence in all aspects of my game. It is also a little bit more comfortable, a little bit softer because it's a thinner gauge. I don't really have arm problems, but maybe I've heard some people say that the original Alu Power is a little bit stiff. I don't personally feel that way, but if it is for you, then maybe this thinner 120 gauge will be a little bit more comfortable on your arm. I really can't say enough good things about this. It's really the feel that gives me the consistency and the confidence I want to really stay on the gas and to dictate pace, because I'm an aggressive offensive player. I like to be the attacker in a rally. I like to play aggressively, close the net. I don't really like playing defensive a lot, and this Alu Power Feel, even when I'm on the run or even when I'm pushed behind the baseline, I'm confident in swinging out on the ball to be able to turn offense into defense, and this string really, really helps me in every aspect of my game and to stay on the offensive. Now getting into the cons, first of all, it's fairly pricey. If you guys know Alu Power and Luxilon, you'd know that it costs more than $15 to $18 for a set. That can be a little bit unsustainable if you're restringing every 2 weeks to a month. It can get a little bit expensive. Also, the original Alu Power was notorious for dropping tension really quickly between the first and second set. It played phenomenal fresh off the stringer, but it takes a nosedive after that first play session that it feels like a completely different string. And unfortunately, the Alu Power Feel or the 120 gauge version, because it's thinner, does drop in tension comparably or maybe even faster. So this string also feels like a completely different string the second time around. If this bothers you, I do recommend pre-stretching the string That'll alleviate a little bit of the tension loss, but it'll make the string bed feel a little bit stiffer. And also you're not going to get that sublime, incredible feel that a fresh set of Alu Power feel will give you. But if all you're looking for is a consistently playing string that you don't have to worry about the tension dropping off and you having to readjust every single time, pre-stretching it would be worth it. But I personally don't, because I really like it that first time I play with it, and then the second time I know that it's going to play different, so I can kind of adjust to it as I'm warming up. So the Alu Power Feel, or the 120mm gauge, is my favorite in the Alu Power line because of its incredible spin power and crucially the feel, which allows me to take huge rips from the baseline and allows me to play with confidence like no other string does. If you guys have not tried this version, I recommend it, although just be wary of that sharp loss in tension after the first time using this. It's not a fairly stiff string, so even if you have slight arm problems, I think you can use this. If your arm problems are really bad, stay away from it, although I do believe that this Alu Power will make a good cross string in a hybrid with natural gut, because the thin gauge will allow the mains to move even more, and because it's a slick round poly, it's not going to eat away at the main strings, and it's also going to allow it to slide and snap back to facilitate even more spin. So there are many different ways you can use this string, but please give Alu Power Feel a try because it is my personal favorite Luxilon string, and I think that it's highly underrated and not very many people know about it. So if you ever can pick up a set, give Alu Power Feel or the 120 gauge of Alu Power a try. So thank you for watching this quick review of the Luxilon Alu Power Feel, or the Alu Power 120 as it's now called. If you guys haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. It's a very good string and gets tremendous feel, and I think it'll do wonders for your touch game. If you like this content and want to see more like it, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on an open court.